Hey guys, welcome back to the post show. This week we talk about Narcos Mexico season 3 and kind of the Narcos series as a whole. We get into bits and pieces of Squid Game, specifically episode 5. I talk about wrapping up Metroid Dread, and we kind of have a small conversation about 100-hour plus video games, The Witcher 3 and Yakuza Like a Dragon. We briefly touch on Succession, a couple of our favorite lines from the episodes that Dave and I have both seen. We kind of have like an anime news, roulette. A couple Jujutsu Kaisen's the big news this week, the new Jujutsu Kaisen Zero trailer. And then we kind of wrap up the podcast in a typical part-time otaku way. We talk about some anime, so we get into 86 and Komi Can't Communicate and the Ranking of Kings, and Dave surprises us with a new show this week that he's checked out in Psychopaths. So anyways, guys, thank you very much for checking out the post show. Hopefully you checked out our Akira pod that came out earlier this week. And if not, well, we'll see you next week on the next post show. Thanks. Bye.
Hey there, fella.
Hi, Dave.
Well, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
We just wrapped our review of Akira, the 1988 classic. So if you guys haven't listened to that yet, go give that a spin. And let the guys over at Akira let them know that we sent you. We'll probably give them a nice little bump. I like, promoting
Bump, yeah.
Yeah, I like to promote the little guy and get stuff like. It's nice when you're into something like super niche and someone can give you like a very like nuanced recommendation because they're into the same like small thing that you're in. I feel like Akira would really benefit from our listeners. Have I stayed too long in this bit? I feel like I've stayed too long.
You could do like another 20 seconds, but we don't have to.
I thought you were going to say 20 minutes. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Okay. So that was Akira. We've got one movie left, which we're going to do in 2 weeks.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies. Just, that ought to put us in like the holiday spirit because it's going to be like the last one before we get into the holidays.
It's just gonna make the Christmas lights look that much nicer.
Yeah,
I feel like just the positivity of Christmas is just gonna elevate after. Honestly, Akira, I felt not dirty after watching it, but it was just kind of like, man, like I can't go to bed right now. Like we need to find something else.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bed on this mindset.
It's tricky. It's funny you say that because my before bed watch, like when you watch as much anime as we've been watching, because we've been on a tear. Like just with the this is the most anime I've watched my whole life because of this podcast, and because the anime 23, as you dubbed it that one time, is like so easily digestible. Anything that's an hour or more really feels like a hike. It's like, Jesus, this is the same show. I think it's also just like content in general is becoming more bite size. Like everything is 5 minutes or 140 to 280 characters, and you've kind of got the whole story. So when you have like 59 straight minutes of TV or 2-hour film like Akira, it's like, this is long by comparison. Where am I going with this? Oh, right. Squid Games has become my before bed show. And I'm like, Jesus, this shit is fucking heavy to watch before bed.
Super heavy. Yeah.
All right, so maybe we should start there. Are you have you made any progress? Have you watched any more?
No, I haven't because one of my favorite shows has come back on Netflix this week, and that completely stole Squid Game time.
Oh, what is it?
Narcos Mexico.
Oh, okay. Maybe yeah, actually tell me a bit about that because I really liked Narcos season 1 and 2. That had Pedro Pascal, right?
Yes, the original season.
Okay.
Or seasons. Because there's two. There's Narcos and there's Narcos Mexico.
Okay. And Narcos Mexico, are any of the characters from the original Narcos series?
Very, very minor spoilers for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Because I know it's a big show. A lot of people are going to have eyes on it. But when the first season of Narcos Mexico came out, it wasn't really announced that there was going to be any real crossover characters. And then there's a grouping of characters from the original Narcos. I won't say who if you haven't seen it, because it's kind of a cool moment. Reveal themselves to be very much involved, because then you realize Narcos Mexico does not take place after the original Narcos. It takes place before, like kind of before and then side by side at points.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And that's like a reveal. Like they don't market it that way.
Originally, no, I don't think they did. And then you kind of get there, you're trying to figure it out, like, because that's the big thing about the show is like they hit up, they hit up like dates and times and moments in history. They do a really good blending of like live news reporting and what happened and what was like the temperature with the rest of the world when some of these events happened. And like I think this is the third season now of Narcos Mexico, so it's running longer than the original. But I prefer. The original Narcos was great, but Devin and I, this is our shows. One of the shows, like we'd watch like an episode, like we'd have to watch it together, and like it's such a beautiful show. I prefer Mexico more to Narcos. Like they're both tremendous. Like
I remember really liking Narcos, the original.
The set pieces they build in this show, like and specifically this season, I'm not going to spoil anything because I think people need to see it. The action set pieces they have put together, like. I'm on episode 4 or 5 now. I think there's like probably 8-ish, I think. And I just watched 3 episodes back to back where they did like major action set pieces. And it's
really?
Like, the money, and it's like it all looks real. Like these aren't like CGI sets. They're clearly shooting a lot of this on site, and maybe it is some CGI trickery that like I can't really tell, but it's action packed. It's beautiful. It's harrowing. Like it's actually scary. There's a shootout scene. In the I won't say which episode, but there's one shootout scene and it's just like my heart was like beating out of my chest. It was super intense. Like anytime civilians are kind of involved too, it's so spooky, and the show does a really good job this season really hitting home like how the rest of the world is affected by these just shitbags like fighting over drugs. They did
a really now I'm speaking about the original Narcos series, but a lot of what you're saying is like ringing true for me because I remember specifically like some chase scenes, some investigative scenes. They did a really good job of like showing you that the drug war was occurring in the streets, like among society, like where people live in their homes. It wasn't like this underground drug world, right? It was like it was just so intense that civilians were always involved, innocent people always got hurt. So that sounds dope. I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
People getting hurt. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's the show is just I can't get over just how beautiful it is. Like, I've never traveled like anywhere. I wouldn't call it tropical, but like a warm climate like that. Like everyone goes to Mexico or Cuba or all these destination vacations. I've never done anything like that. But just the love and attention they put into the country and the communities, and they show how diverse, province to provinces or like community to community is. Like the show just, it is about like warring drug factions and and this, the nice thing too is they kind of stay away from like the propaganda stuff in this show.
Oh, okay.
Because like there's obviously like it's not like a white savior thing, but there's clearly like the DEA agents that are played like because in Mexico. Narcos Mexico, it follows the DEA as well, like they did in the original Narcos. You see both sides of it, but it's not like showing like the cops are like here to save people. Like they show that like they're kind of shitty and they're not perfect either, and it does a really good blend of like both sides, like the losses on both sides and like the good people from both sides. It's just such a well-made show.
I thought that was relatively well done in the original as well.
Like I said,
back and forth. I mean,
I think Mexico takes what was great about the original Narcos and elevates it. The cat and like the acting, God, like some of the like just the actors, like clearly like they're all of Hispanic origin of some sort. Like I know they're like the first season was mainly a lot of it was set in Colombia. And like so obviously it's in Mexico now, but it's just so diverse and the actors are so good. It's kind of going back to like our Squid Game conversation of like just the performances these people put on. It's miles better than anything you see in Hollywood or like like outside of like indie. It feels like an indie film. Like the performances are so fucking good, especially like the guy, like the new big, he's not a new character, but he's kind of the big bad for this season. This dude is just like knocking it out of the park. He is so fucking good.
On a darker note, because I just remembered this, was it Narcos that had a location scout die?
Yes, that's the reason Pedro Pascal didn't sign up for Mexico.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. He said he didn't feel it was safe shooting, or he didn't feel it was safe enough for all the people working on the show, not necessarily the actors, like tech people and all that.
Location scouts,
or because it was location scouts that got killed, I think.
Yeah, it was.
So I think he kind of distanced himself from that, but
not shocking.
He landed okay.
Yeah, he did all right.
Yeah,
Over in Martel
in Narcos.
He was incredible in Narcos, and he's had some big movies recently, has he not? I can't name them, but he's been a busy fella. Or maybe I'm thinking of TV. Anyway, good for him. But yeah, okay. The whole series, they put the whole season 3.
Yes, yeah, it's all done.
Maybe I'll take a little look-see. We did mention Squid Games, so I will cover no spoilers. I'm up to episode 5. What do you said, like 3.5 or halfway through 3?
I have not touched it since we last talked.
Yeah, okay.
2.5.
Yeah, okay, so like 2.5 in. So yeah, I'm up to episode 5, and I think like the question that I had where when I was in like episode 2 or 3 was like, what else is this show gonna be about? Because like I don't think they could do 9 hours on just games without tiring the audience. And again, no spoilers, but I think that they are adding layers to the show that it needs, and they're doing it at like the exact right time and pace. We just came off like again the Akira podcast, and we talked about how important pacing is. This show seems to really understand how to do that. So again, shouts out to a show not getting enough attention. If you haven't tried Squid Games, you gotta, once you wrap up your rental of Akira, you gotta try Squid Games because they deserve the bump. And let them use the promo code PartOtaku to let them know we sent you. What else you watched this week?
So I just want to quickly touch. I finished Metroid Dread.
Oh, the game.
Boss.
Yeah.
Beat the final boss. Was definitely a proud moment because it was not an easy fight for like as far as final fights go in a game. Was quite punishing for me, like in my difficulty range of playing games. But beat that, loved it. Like I said, I just want to touch on it again. If you have a Switch and you kind of like you're looking for something and you want to challenge yourself, I highly recommend Metroid Dread to anyone. It was just a really, really fun blitz. It was crazy too. I played it so much, I beat the game and it gave me my runtime. And it was like, 16 hours. I'm like, I only played for 16 hours. Like, it felt like I burned like months into this game.
We're getting older.
Yeah.
What's the last game? I don't even know what the answer would be for me. What's the last game you think you put over 100 hours into?
It's a very interesting question, David.
Well, just because, like, I think a lot of... I read... you're much more plugged into the gaming community than I am, but, like, you read game reviews, be like, the core plot, we did in 18 hours, but if you're a completionist, you could put over 100 hours in. And I'm always sitting there being like, who the fuck is putting 100 hours? You know what I mean? Like, now, obviously, my appetite and, like, everything, my whole relationship with gaming is very different now compared to when I was a teenager. And also just compared to, like, I've kind of, my passion for it has just kind of fallen away. But I'm not really a gamer. Like, I don't think I would put myself in that category. So my opinion's kind of moot. That's why I'm curious about what your answer would be.
I think like 100 hours is a lot.
Well, let's say 50 or something.
Yeah,
something you really dumped some time into.
The last game that like freaking absolutely gripped me, and I played it this year, was the Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon. I saw just about everything I could in that game. That game completely transfixed me. It's the best game I played this year. And then before that, I think like the most in years would probably be The Witcher 3. I did everything I could to see everything in that game. Because again, same thing. Love the books, like the lore. Just such really good storytelling. Like the side quests in that game could be like a regular story for like any other game.
Yeah, I remember the chatter about that game being just how big it is and how immersive it is. So it never felt tedious to you. Like you were so in love with it, you wanted to do everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to see like every little chest and do this and kind of go there, and see what happens if I do that, and it's just like I'm all about the story, and it's kind of you'll just be walking through like a forest or something like that, and you kind of like you're just an event is triggered, and like this story kind of comes along and it becomes a thing, and like next thing you know you burnt 4 hours kind of doing like this little side quest and getting caught up in whatever. But it's Witcher 3 is an awesome game, really good.
Remind me, did you read the books?
I think I haven't read like 1 or 2 of them, but for the most part I got them all.
And I know you weren't hot on Witcher season 1. Did you finish it though?
No.
You didn't even finish it.
No, I'm good.
Wow.
No, I know.
So will you watch season 2?
My plan going in is to watch, and I've heard it's not great, but I'm gonna jump into the anime movie they did, see if that sparks something. And hopefully I can kind of jump into finish season 1. If not, I'm just gonna start season 2.
Yeah, I'm like Netflix, HBO. They've all gotten pretty adept at like a good and thorough recap. So
Check out our post show with the first week of Succession, where I got burned.
Yeah,
Really.
You poor bastard.
They are doing it again, where they're pretty much showing what happens in the whole episode, like minutes before the episode starts. A 2-minute long trailer. It's crazy to me that they're doing.
I'm watching it on demand. I don't know if that's a cable thing, but I haven't been burned by any of those yet.
It's because I put it on the channel 5 minutes before we go.
Poor bastard.
And
so
I've learned to mute the TV.
Yeah, I'm very behind. I'm only 2 episodes in.
Okay.
So there isn't much
episode
for me to say.
3 is my favorite so far.
Okay.
Of the 4 episodes that I've watched I watched it last night, obviously, but episode 3 is probably one of the best episodes they've done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a high bar. You asked me like the first, a couple weeks back when season 3 like was premiering, if I had like a favorite quote, and I've only seen 2 episodes, but I just remember Ken is in an argument in episode 2, and this is not a spoiler, but he had a quote that I liked, so I wrote it down, and it was, "Is it cowardice or is it avarice? I'm intrigued."
Oh my god.
And I was like, God damn, this show is fucking sick. I was at a friend's, like I was telling you off air, I was at a friend's, and we were watching some stuff together, and we were given the pitch on Succession, and and everyone is, we're all talking over each other, like, it's just so good. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's just so plugged in, and the question is always like, what's it about? And I think everybody is like, in so many words, everyone's like, it doesn't matter what it's about. It's the actors, the performances, the writing. It's all amazing, because like the synopsis for Succession is frankly almost boring compared to how good the show is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a billionaire who runs like a Fortune 500 with one of the last like, family-run businesses in corporate America, and like his kids vying for power. That sounds like a very boring white-collar series, and like that's just so not what Succession is. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing to me is like, it just like the imagination of the writers of the show and like the creator of the show.
Oh my god!
Like this whole 3rd season is like, everything that's taking place is a big deal, and it's all based around like what was like a one-off line from the 1st season, and then like another kind of one-off line in the 2nd season, and now it's like full frontal. It's everything, and you're like, oh shit! Like, who knew? It's really cool just how like the machinations.
I think
of how the show works.
I think the girl that plays Shiv is Canadian. I think someone told me that.
I think she's Australian.
Whatever, bro.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad that you had that. Like, I'm so mad that you had that in the barrel.
I love the interviews.
Shiv. I'm furious right now. Sarah Snook. It's hard to imagine. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna take your... Damn it, you're right. South Australia. Son of a bitch. Fuck. Well, someone's getting punished. Whatever. Okay, how about some quick anime news?
Let's do it.
to moisten our palates. Moisten our palate cleanser.
Yeah.
A full.
I'll take a moisten too.
Yeah. Okay. A full trailer was released for Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I'd fucking inject that shit right in my veins, bro.
Slaps, eh?
Like, I did. I listened to it with no. So hear me out. I listened to it with no audio. I just watched it because
that's
I want something.
who we are.
I want something to be a surprise. You know, like it was just one of those things. It's like they've been teasing like key art and poster art for this movie. It's been clearly like a kind of like a very hush hush marketing campaign over the past few weeks, but it's been popping up everywhere. And that trailer dropped, and my brain, like, I couldn't react. I just like clicked it, and I was like, all right, let's just see what we get here. You know, but like, yeah, it's what everyone hoped. It's gonna look like the show. You know?
Yes, very much. The animation style is very much in the spirit of the show. There's no doubt about that. You know, dude, just on this real quick, very unrelated, but I've noticed something about myself that frankly terrifies me a little bit, and I feel like it's...
You watch reaction videos again?
No, I mean, I am at peace with that part of me and my inner demons have like come to... We have an understanding that I know I have a sickness. But this is different, and I wonder if you can relate at all, because a big part of like this whole podcast and like the DNA of this podcast is that, you know, we're getting a little older, you know.
Yeah, sure.
We're, you know, I'm not going to say how old because I don't want to talk about it, but we're getting there. And you know what I noticed, dude? Like, this trailer came out, and I thought of the show, and I thought of the movie, and I thought of you in this podcast, and I was like, do I watch this? Like, do I take the Grant approach? Because a lot of the time, when you really like something, you go in cold, like colder than I ever go in. And I respect and understand that. But I said to myself, and it's true, I was like, well, watch it. Even if there's spoilers, you're not going to remember them anyway. Like, my memory has deteriorated to such a point. Like, I think I've told you, like, I read Attack on Titan Season 4 spoilers, like, in Part 2, that I completely forget. Like, I know I read them, and I was like, oh, God, that's going to be hard to get out of my brain. I have no idea what they were.
Just bags of meat and bones, Dave. Like,
I could not tell you anything about this Jujutsu Kaisen trailer, other than, like, I watched it, and I liked it. And, like, I remember being happy about it, but I have no memory of its actual content. Isn't that fucked up? Like, I had to read my own notes for the Akira podcast to be like, oh, right, like, that's how I felt. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it's absolutely. Oh my God, Dave, it's
like, isn't that frightening?
Yeah, long-term memory there, like, locked. Like, I got that.
It's the short-term stuff.
Oh yeah. That's Dave. I am a meticulous note taker. Like, at work, I got like a little leather-bound book I keep with me at all times, and in the moment, anytime like I'm told something, or you know something kind of comes up, I will out loud say, again, this is a little inside baseball for everyone in our lives here, but you know, I will literally say it out loud and say, should I write this down? And then if like I say, yeah, I should, and then I do, because it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone.
You're preaching to the choir. I have like a whole a whole text solution built around my memory not working. I have like shortcuts that lead to macros that like it all goes into like a priority to-do list app that I have set up, and it runs my whole life because I can't trust myself to remember anything at this point. And now, you know, that's like also like a productivity hack, but it's also because I will not remember. And it's very weird. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to the Part-Time Otaku podcast, where we ponder our morality. This has been really fun. Okay. But yeah, okay. I'm glad to know I'm not alone in there, in that.
But it's kind of fun too, because I have a running list of like, you know, it's the first time I've ever done this, where it's just like a list of the year so far of animes, movies, TV, and games. And just like what I've touched. I got, you know, markers.
I did the same thing
markers
this
of
year.
what I started and haven't finished. And I look at it like every other day because, like, you know, something like a new show will come on, or I'm adding, you know, we watch a new movie, you know, because these movie nights are movies none of them I've seen, so I'm in there like adding the list, and it's just like, oh my god, I did watch Bosch season 7 this year, and I did start Mr. Robot, or, you know, I watched this movie, and I watched, Mitchells and the Machines. It's just it's so crazy in the mind, man.
You know what we should do? Like, and this sounds like an arduous ask, but you know, I'll make a note of this because I'll forget. But we should like make a shared Google Doc with everything we've covered on the podcast and like our ratings for it, and like, you know, work that into a end of year 1 review or something.
I would like that. Would be fun. It should be our goal for it's a 2022 goal for starting fresh right on the new year.
Yeah, that could be very fun because it might be a little bit much to like do it retroactively, but yeah, maybe we could do that for 2022. Yeah. That's a good idea. Okay.
All this from Jujutsu Kaisen 0.
Yeah, you see, this is why you got to let people wander. Yeah. As I know you're a huge Call of Duty Vanguard fan, news says Call of Duty Vanguard X Attack on Titan crossover confirmed.
Okay, we'll see.
I don't know what that means.
Dubious at best.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
Like, if it's a real deal, like, I actually, because I saw that this morning or yesterday, whenever it came out.
Well, it wasn't it wasn't even a confirmed leak, right?
No, it's just, you know, it could just be
data
all,
mining,
just hot air.
Yeah,
and I actually said to myself, I'm like, well, fuck, I might have to buy Vanguard if that's the case. Like, obviously, I'd like to see what the content is, but if there's just like a flat out like Titan mode where you're like trying to survive, like, yeah, I would spend.
Nah, there's no way. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be something silly, like I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be something silly. Okay, and again, you know, this one also out of left field, but I didn't watch it because what do I care? But I'm seeing promotional material now to celebrate episode 1000 for One Piece.
One Piece has been on my mind all week.
Because of that?
I don't know. Maybe maybe I saw it and I've been thinking about it. But like, I'm not saying I'm gonna watch One Piece, but like, I kind of just want to watch like a handful of like classic episodes of One Piece just to get a taste.
The thing is that it's frustrating to me because I hate jumping into things without having all the background info. Like, I hate that. When someone says, "Oh, you don't have to watch season 1, jump right into season 2." No, fuck you. That's not how stories work.
That's not how it works.
No. Here's this classic book. Start on page 311. What?
Yeah, ain't happening.
Yeah, so I don't know, but it's also like there's just so much, dude. 1,000 episodes is such an obscene amount of episodes. Like.
It's crazy.
I wonder what that subreddit is like.
I bet it's a hoot.
Yeah.
I bet you, like, because like it's kind of like a badge of honor to have been like, yeah, like, I'm caught up, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and people can just like casually talk and like to say, you know, like, you're a bigger fan because you watched it, but like, I feel like deep down, if you had watched something in the moment and you're talking about it, whether it's a conversation in public or it's a thread you're typing on, like, you probably feel a little different than someone who just read like the Sparks notes and then is like jumping in on the conversation, you know. So it's like, it's kind of like, I'm jealous, you know.
Yeah.
There's not many clubs where I'm like, you know, not clubs, but you know what I mean. Like, it's such like a high watermark to gain.
No, I agree because like the whole YouTube reaction community is exploding on Attack on Titan, and I'm sitting there being like, man, I had this huge fucking wait for season 3, and then parts 1 and 2, and then part 4 blew the roof off of my life, and I started a whole podcast about the damn thing, and people are just blitzing through it like, yo, you guys heard of this show? And even then, that's like not even a fraction of what One Piece people have been through. It's obscene.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot, man.
I'm glad we have them, Dave. You know, like,
yeah.
They are
crazy
the vanguard
bastards
of this anime community, just holding it down for the home team. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, I think that does it for anime news. What you got? Anything else?
I got one thing left.
Hit me up, bro.
I checked out the first 3 episodes of 86.
Oh, nice.
So bullet point 1, I totally get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
like very early on, like in the first episode.
Okay,
set
well,
the tone.
Spoilers up to episode 3. So, when you say you know what I'm talking about, what specifically do you mean?
I'll tell you. I was up early with the dog this morning, and Leanna came downstairs, like, like as light-footed as a person can be. Didn't even notice her coming downstairs. Right as there's not hot springs. Basically, like all the girl cast of the show is like bathing in like, this river.
Because you had to do that.
And it's kind of just like, oh, good morning.
You perverted. You
like,
perverted fucks ruining good TV.
Yeah, just in the dark watching this. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is it's
like,
not.
Hey honey, this is what I do every morning.
Yeah, it was just I laughed a lot. Even then, there's a moment, I think it's in the first episode, where I almost called her Vivi. I don't even know the main character's name actually, because there's some things about and we'll get into the minutia.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's like getting a medical done, but like they just like linger on her like getting changed for like a second. Yeah. Just like, oh, like you could just like not have, But and then bullet point 2, me, my guy, because that OP fucking crushes.
That OP slaps, eh?
Yeah, it's so good. Happiness Era Dance Gavin Dance is the first thing that came to mind.
Oh yeah, that's a good. That's a good pull.
My favorite. It was like in the back, like the guitar, like just. I've been noodling it in my mind like ever since I started watching the show.
Interesting.
I will say, Dave, I'm probably not going to continue. I'm probably not going to continue with this show.
Damn, really?
It is. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much other stuff that I'm genuinely really liking. I'll catch up later, maybe.
I will say, episode 3 is by far the absolute worst episode of the whole season that I've seen so far. I'm on episode 8. Episode 3 is atrocious. I hated it, and that's why I almost didn't watch it after that. But then I gave 1 or 2 more, and it did get better. And I think around, it might be 5, there's like a significant twist. We're like, oh, and that's what did it for me, and that's why I'm still watching. But I'm not going to pressure you into it. I think I'll continue to fight the good fight and watch it though.
It's one of those things like, the stuff in the show that works is really good, like better than most, some of the stuff I've seen this year. Like the world building is very, there's mystery to it, there's action to it. I don't love like the tank part of it. I think that's oddly enough is what's kind of like pulls me out of it. I have no interest.
Is it the CG?
No, not the CG. It's just like I know it's like a mech show, but it doesn't feel like a mech show.
Because it's out of nowhere. The whole art direction changes when they do those scenes. It's very odd.
No. Like it's not even that. It's just, it's like I know they're going for like a war element. I feel like this show would just be better if, it was more. If it was just like slightly more grounded in the actual in the tank stuff. Like if it was almost like people thought those were like unmanned tanks, which they are. That's what they are. They are tanks. Just the whole spider thing. It's just, again, it's not visually how they look or the CG. It's just kind of like the premise of like these. I don't know.
That problem is sort of addressed in the twist I'm talking about, and I'm not trying to convince you to keep watching. But
how many episodes have you seen at this point now, sir?
8. I'm 8 in, and I would say the twist or breakthrough moment, if you will, comes around 5 or 6. And
maybe I should wait till that.
I don't know. It's up to you. Because I'm also not sitting. This isn't fucking Sunny Boy, right? And it's not Vivi either. Like it's not like Grant. This is must see, change your life TV. It's like this is like good. This is like sort of, but it has problems like. Why they felt the need to do episode 3 and maybe it's a demographic thing, maybe they know who they're appealing to, but it's like it cheapens the whole show. And there are things that are that like actually the show has some stakes and there's some good drama in it, and when you do dumb fucking episodes like that, like you cheapen it. I don't know.
the thing that stuck out to me that I loved, I thought it was so cool, and it's clearly going to be like not the case. They tee up the whole. There's only 2 years left in the war. Like the timer is about to end for like this, the enemy's lifespan kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not like a super original thought. Like I feel like maybe I've seen it. It sounded familiar, but I was like, oh, like it kind of really works in the story. It's I don't know. It's and like the woman in the chair thing. Like I don't. Her feeling like I don't know. I think I might need to watch a couple more episodes, but that third episode, similar to you, kind of just threw me out. I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
like, I can't do a full season of this. I have no interest. And like I say that, and I watched, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which is moments like that dialed up to 1,000.
Yeah,
but everything outside of those moments, like I fucking loved, and I wanted more and more and more of. The moments like outside of this are just like okay. But I'm hearing like the second part of this, like second half of this season is like 10 times better than everything before. Like people are losing their shit over what's going on. Like people are super pissed about the delay coming for next week for this show. Like it's I don't know. It's an interesting. It's very curious because like I said, I've had my eyes on it since the beginning of the year. I knew it was coming, but I don't know.
That's Miss Kobayashi.
No, 86.
86, yeah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got... Yeah.
Sorry, I blended. I was blending there.
I think my thought, and you mentioned, like, the girl in the chair, I think it's, what is it, Madame Vilise, something like that. The girl who's talking to them on the parade. I think, and I alluded to this, and I think it's fair that I can say this now, that, since we said spoilers up to episode 3, the writing for that character might be the biggest problem in the whole show. Like, I don't know what choice or why they decided to make it this way. And, it's starting to make a little bit more sense as I get deeper into the season. Like, things are taking shape and there are stakes and the characters have developed a little bit more and it all makes a little bit more sense. But I still maintain that, like, the choices that they're making with this character are, like, among the biggest problems. And it's similar... to what you saw in episode 3. It's not nearly as bad, but it's like this like weird, hacky, whiny, perverted garbage that just like pollutes an otherwise pretty good show. And that, I know I recognize I'm coming off like we come off maybe a little superior about it sometimes, but it's irritating, right?
No,
like it's
I don't think so.
It's a trope that like doesn't benefit the story and it's just sort of transparent sometimes. It's like I get it. But that doesn't mean it's okay. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's a precedent for this kind of thing in storytelling doesn't mean like you keep doing it. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all of that aside, I am enjoying it. I'm probably going to watch a little bit more because I don't think I'm that far off from being caught up. So I think I might go to then and then sort of make a decision. Do you have anything else? I've got one.
I got just like quick little updates. Komi can't communicate. Dave, might be in your interest to just not bother.
Oh, really?
Well, it's kind of how do I put this? Fuck.
Shitty?
No.
I'm kidding.
It's similar. I think it's reminding me of like Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but out of nowhere, like there's just these kind of like really weird. Not weird characters, but just weird moments that kind of like spoiled the story for me a little bit of like what the vision for the show was presented to me. And there was a bit of like wholesomeness implanted in the first episode from beginning to end, and then the second episode kind of like teeters on like kind of just nothing bad, just like very kind of confusing messaging I found a little bit. And then the third episode just introduced a character. Like, I have not despised a character. Like, the way she acts and behaves is just so, like, inappropriate and stupid. Especially because they're all in high school.
Yeah, oh, right.
And I was
setting.
just like, yeah, I was just like, nah, I don't dig that. Like, I'm going to give it a couple more episodes just to kind of see. Because the stuff outside those characters and those moments are, like, really good. Like, really good. So... But, like, Dave, you would get to episode 3 and be like, nah, I'm fucking good. Like, I watched it, I was like, Dave, I gotta let Dave know.
I appreciate that. I was like highlighting it over the other day, and I was like, Grant wasn't like 100% sure, but I don't know. Just based off the poster, I was gonna follow up. Okay.
So my follow-up to that is the ranking of kings.
Oh yes.
Dave, I think you should do yourself a favor and try and catch up. There's only 4 episodes. This is going to be one to watch week to week. This show, Wit Studio, are they're just geniuses, man.
I
Like,
forgot it
think
was Wit.
I might be biased because, like, you know, I've come to the realization that they are my favorite studio. Just, you know, from the work they've, you know, put out over the years that I've watched and fell in love with. This show has so much heart. And
We just came hot off Finland Saga and Vivi Flore.
Yeah. Like, this show is going to be great. Like, it's already set up stuff. Like, just, and I don't want to remotely spoil it. I just want to hit home the marks. Like, it's, you know, he's like a deaf and mute child, and he's kind of caught up in this whole, you know, royal family thing. He's got a brother, and it's like a story we've kind of seen before, but it's like they're taking it in beats and directions that, like, I just have not expected. And it's just like, this world just works, man. Like, it's got so much color and it's bright, and even though, like, it's oddly dark, it's very warm. It's a standout. Like, I love it. Like, I've already watched it through twice. Like,
Wow, really?
I did like a marathon.
That says a lot.
I finished episode 4 the other morning, and I immediately watched like the 4, like 1, 2, 3, and 4 again. Like, right after that, it's really, really good.
So
good cast characters.
4 episodes are already out, and now they're week to week.
Yes. Yeah, I believe Thursdays are new episodes, which is kind of such a strange date. But I think Odd Taxi was on that day too. I found it weird. Sunday is what you want. It works for our schedule. I think that's why.
Well, maybe maybe we'll send them a note, like tweet at them, and maybe they can change the airing date to better suit it for coverage purposes. Because, like I was saying earlier, with like Akira and Squid Games, I think like a lot of these studios would really appreciate the bump if we could send our listeners there. So, you know, because I don't imagine that they have a lot of viewers. So, you know, maybe we can sweeten the deal, hook up a promo code or something. Okay.
Pass the cloud around.
Yeah. So ranking of kings, huh? Funimation or Crunchyroll?
Funimation.
Typical. What's up with all the Funimation exclusives lately?
It doesn't matter. It's the same company now. Like,
That's true. But don't you have to pay separately?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
I cannot wait till there's like a single membership. I'm so tired of having.
Oh yeah, because wait, they bought Crunchyroll or Crunchyroll bought them? I can't remember.
Like Sony bought Crunchyroll,
and they already owned Funimation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe so.
Some bullshit. Okay. All right. I've got one more for you. This is a big one that I finally got around to watching, and I'm curious if you've ever heard of it. I believe it's an anime original. I believe. Don't quote me on that, or don't come for me, people, if I'm wrong. Called Psycho Pass. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Okay, so I believe there's a couple seasons, 1, 2, potentially 3 seasons, and/or a movie. But what I've also heard is that like season 1 is like lightning in a bottle. And I don't know if season 2 is even like sequentially like following it. I'm a little bit question marky on that. So I figured like before I like dove deep into like the whole like, you know, do I go down the rabbit hole of like queuing it all up? Like, let's just give season 1 a go and see how it goes. So I'm 2 episodes in, and it's very different from everything else we've been watching these days. So, you know, because like I was talking about, you know, we've talked about 86 a lot and how like that not borrows, but that some of the tone stuff is similar to Vivi. And we're just coming off of, you know, some weird shows. So this is like a good change up. It is futuristic and cyberpunky, however. But it's more, how do they describe it? I have it here. Is a Japanese cyberpunk psychological thriller anime. I would define it very aptly as anime Minority Report.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is absolutely what it is. I don't know. I can't be the first person to make that characterization or comparison, but dude, that's what it is. Like, you know, there are obviously some anime isms that like drastically, you know, poke holes in that comparison, but like in terms of like the concept for the show, it's anime Minority Report, 100%.
Wow.
You know,
which makes sense because Minority Report feels like an anime.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, it's futuristic, it's cyberpunky. It's dystopian. It's very like you're being watched. There's things like thought crime, and like they even have a term for it. I can't remember what the term is in Minority Report, but the idea is they arrest you before you before you convict the crime, right? But
Pre-crime. They call it pre-crime.
Guess what they call it in this? The translation, anyway, is a latent criminal. So you would have been, right? So anyway, I'm only 2 episodes in. They seem to be... I'm trying to think of what else I can compare it to. It's dark. It's gritty. Yeah. But there's like there are some oddly light moments that they're not like 86 levels of weird or anything like that. But like they change it up. I don't know. It's hard to get a read on it. Only 2 episodes in, to be honest with you. But I'm interested, so I'll probably watch a little bit more of that. But it's been on my list forever, and I see it on Reddit all the time. Like, I'm into these originals like this, and it's always like in the conversation. Like I saw people being like, if you love Vivi, you would love Psycho-Pass. It's a classic that everybody talks about. It's up there with Cowboy Bebop, blah blah blah. I don't know about that.
Is this early 2000s?
I should know the answer to that question, especially if I come on a podcast to talk about it. But let me tell you. Hold on, I'll find out.
Major spoilers.
Yeah, major spoilers. Wait, when you asked me what era it was in, did you mean like when did it come out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so there is a season 3 that was in 2019, but again, I think this is one of the shows that had like major breaks. Yeah, okay, so season 1 was 2012.
Oh. Okay.
So, the early teens, but apparently was like relatively well received, and they've got me curious. So I'll fight the good fight, and I'm gonna check that one out.
Psycho-Pass. I love it. I love an out of left field watch.
Yeah, well, it's some of our favorite ever have been like very out of left field. Like we didn't even hear it. Like a Sunny Boy was like a random trailer one of us stumbled on. Vivi, was that you? I can't remember.
Vivi, yeah.
But yeah, it was, and I literally never heard of it. Or no, that's not true because I had it queued. But like, you hear offhand something is good, but like people say that kind of shit about anime all the time.
Sure. Yeah,
so it's tricky. But yeah, Psycho-Pass. I believe it's also on. Yeah, it is on Funimation. So, check out the pilot if you like. But if not, I'll get a little review going and come back. Once I arrive and once I'm back in town and motor through a few more of these.
Sounds good.
What do you think? Does that wrap it up for this week?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't, check out the Akira review that we posted a couple of days ago. Then, as I already mentioned, we're going to do Grave of the Fireflies within a couple of weeks, and then it's time for Demon Slayer Season 2, the new entertainment arc, in December. Time is flying. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary, so we're going to have to figure out something to do to celebrate that. But if you haven't already, like, comment, follow, subscribe. Do the whole social media thing on the relevant social media platform. Follow us and find us on the metaverse. Or just do whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever. Thank you guys very much for listening.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.